Think about the wooden furniture in your home, maybe the floorboards, or even the frame of that new building going up downtown. All these things that rely on a material we probably don't think about much. Timber boards. Yet, it's part of this huge global market that's, well, set to hit nearly $3 billion in the next decade or so. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we sift through the latest research, the analyses, and try to bring you the key takeaways quickly and clearly. Today, we're plunging into the honestly fascinating world of the global timberboard market. It's a foundational industry. I mean, it literally builds our world around us. Our source for this deep dive is a pretty comprehensive report, Global Timberboard Market Analysis, 2025-2033 projections. It's from Cognitive Market Research Insights.
And our mission really is to cut through all those dense numbers and just extract the crucial insights for you from this very detailed market analysis. We're not just looking at, what's happening right now. We want to explore the regional shifts, which are quite surprising in places, and what these movements signal for the future of this really vital industry.
Yeah.
All the way through 2033, it's about understanding those deeper economic forces, the industrial trends that are shaping construction, sustainable sourcing, really everything worldwide.
Okay, right. Let's try and unpack this then. So the global timber board market,
It was already a pretty substantial player, right? Valued at roughly, $1.8 billion back in 2021. But here's where it gets interesting. The report estimates it's on track to hit over $2.1 billion this year, so 2025. And it's projected to soar to nearly $3 billion. The specific number is 2,986.6 million by 2033. That's a steady compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of just over 4.2% annually. Yeah, 4.235% to be precise.
Right. So, to put it simply, this isn't just like slow and steady growth. It's a really clear sign of timberboard's rising importance. We see it in furniture, construction, and definitely in that growing sustainable materials market.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here isn't just that overall growth number solid as it is. It's how incredibly varied it is when you look region by region. The global picture, yeah, it's undeniably strong. But each regional story, it tells us something unique about local economies, industrial trends. It's kind of like a mosaic, Each piece shows a different dynamic of demand and development. So let's start peeling back those layers.
Okay, where should we begin? Maybe with the biggest player.
Makes sense. Let's kick off with the undeniable giant in the room, Asia Pacific.
Right, Asia Pacific. It holds the title, the report says, of the largest regional market. Back in 2021, its timberboard market was already huge, valued at over $679 million. And the projections show it reaching more than $810 million this year, 2025. And then it's expected to soar past the $1 billion mark to almost $1.17 billion by 2033.
wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and that works out to a really robust annual growth rate, a CAGR of nearly 4.7%, 4.693% specifically.
And, within Asia Pacific, the story gets even more granular and, frankly, compelling. China, as you might guess, has led the region. Its market's projected to grow significantly, hitting over $376 million by 2033. That's showing a solid annual growth rate, the CAGR, of almost 4.9%. 4.878%, actually.
Which makes sense, right, given its vast manufacturing base and just continuous massive construction needs?
Absolutely. Ties directly to that. But here's a bit of a surprising twist in the data. India is actually showing the strongest growth rate in the entire region, an impressive CAGR of over 5.5%, 5.559% to be exact.
Over 5.5, wow.
Yeah, that's a huge climb. It's projected to nearly double its market size by 2033. From around $91 million to over $174 million.
So what's behind that surge in India? And you mentioned Southeast Asia, too.
That's the big question, isn't it? It really raises the point. What's driving such intense demand in specific areas like India? And yeah, you've got Singapore showing impressive growth, too, over 5.1%. And the broader Southeast Asia market as a whole is projected at about 5.3% CAGR, growing from like $49 million to nearly $91 million. So, it points to a combination of things. Rapid urbanization, for sure. Huge infrastructure development projects.
Yeah.
And possibly, evolving consumer preferences for timber-based products in these rapidly expanding middle-class markets. It's a confluence of factors.
That's incredible, India leading the charge like that in growth percentage. Okay, shifting gears. Let's look across the Pacific to North America. It's another really substantial market, but maybe a different kind of growth story.
It's a good way to put it, yeah.
Its market was valued at over $518 million in 2021. It's on track to hit nearly $600 million this year, and projected to expand further to almost $800 million, $796.5 million by 2033. So a solid, consistent growth rate here of just over 3.6% annually, 3.621%.
Right. And in North America, the U.S. naturally accounts for the lion's share. Its market's growing steadily. Projected to hit over $642 million by 2033. The annual rate there is about 3.5%, 3.505%. So, this really is a mature market.
Steady, predictable growth.
Exactly. Driven by ongoing residential, commercial construction. Renovation cycles play a big part, too. What's kind of interesting, though, is that Canada actually shows a slightly stronger growth rate. Their CAGR is projected over 4.2%. 4.246%.
We're a little higher than the U.S.
Slightly, yeah. Outpacing Mexico's rate, too, which is still solid at about 3.8%, 3.855%. So it just illustrates, consistent, albeit varied, growth across the continent, often driven by distinct national economic priorities, maybe different construction trends or regulations.
Okay. So not exactly a boom market like parts of Asia, but foundational, as you said.
Precisely. Solid foundation.
All right, moving across the Atlantic now, let's explore Europe's market. It stood at around $367 million back in 2021, growing to over $431 million this year, 2025, and anticipated to reach nearly $579 million by 2033. That's a respectable growth rate, too, just over 3.7% annually, 3.735%. A bit slower than Asia-Pacific overall, but still very healthy.
Definitely healthy. And within Europe, we see some fascinating contrasts. It's almost like different gears turning at different speeds across the continent. Germany, for instance, really stands out, shows even stronger momentum. It's recording Europe's highest annual growth rate, the highest CAGR, at over 4.4%, 4.449%.
Germany, leading in Europe.
Yeah. Its market is projected to reach nearly $120 million by 2033. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, well, Germany's renowned industrial strength is focused on high-quality manufacturing. Plus, a strong commitment often to sustainable building practices. It clearly extends to this sector.
Makes sense. What about other major European economies?
Well, we also see pretty solid growth in the UK and Spain. Both are showing growth rates around the 4% mark. 4.058% for the UK, 4.029% for Spain.
Okay, still strong.
Right. However, not all European markets are moving quite that fast. Countries like France, its CAGR is closer to 3.2%. Russia's is lower, around 2.5%. Luxembourg, about 2.9%. So it highlights a truly varied landscape across the continent. It reflects, diverse national economic situations, different levels of construction demand, maybe different regulatory environments impacting timber use. It's a real mix.
It's a mixed bag, yeah. Okay, but now, here's where the report gets really interesting. And frankly, quite surprising, as you hinted earlier, Africa. It's showcasing the strongest growth momentum in the entire global timber board industry.
It is absolutely the headline growth story.
Yeah. Its market, which was around $50 million, $50.8 million back in 2021, it's projected to rise to over $70 million this year. And then it's set to more than double, over $141 million by 2033. That's an impressive average annual growth rate, a CAGR of almost 9%, 8.992%.
It truly is remarkable, especially when you compare it to the more established regions we've just discussed. It really speaks volumes about the continent's development trajectory right now.
So where is that growth concentrated within Africa?
Looking closer, South Africa is the absolute standout. It boasts the highest annual growth rate, the highest CAGR in the entire global market analyzed here, nearly 9.7%. 9.673%.
Wow, almost 10% year on year.
Incredible, isn't it? Its market is projected to almost triple by 2033, from about $18 million to nearly $54 million. Nigeria also shows really robust expansion, an annual growth rate, a CAGR, of over 9.2%.
9.213%.
So South Africa and Nigeria are the powerhouses. They really are driving a lot of it. And the rest of Africa collectively isn't far behind either, averaging over 8.3% growth. This really underscores the immense potential of emerging economies in driving these global market trends. We're talking about, massive housing demands, new urban centers popping up, significant infrastructure projects. All of this contributes to an explosion in demand for essential building materials like timber boards. It's a powerful indicator of future economic shifts. No question about it.
Absolutely fascinating. Okay, rounding out our regional deep dive then, let's briefly touch on South America and the Middle East. They present their own unique trajectories, the report suggests. South America, for instance, projected to grow from over $126 million in 2021 to almost $195 million by 2033. That's at a respectable 3.5% annual growth rate, 3.538%. Brazil holds the largest share within that region.
Right. Brazil's the biggest market there, projected to grow from about $47 million to $71 million.
But interestingly, Argentina actually shows a slightly stronger growth rate, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Argentina's CAGR is projected just over 4%, 4.043%. So again, variations even within the region.
Right. And then the Middle East.
And then we have the Middle East. Overall, it presents a somewhat slower growth picture. The CAGR is under 3% annually, 2.977%. So moving from around $72 million in 2021 to just over $105 million by 2033.
Slower, but still growth.
Oh, absolutely. Still growing. And while the overall growth is more modest compared to, say, the dynamism of Africa or parts of Asia, there's still notable activity within the region. Countries like the UAE, for instance, they're showing more robust growth, closer to 3.6% annually, 3.587%, suggests, targeted investment perhaps in certain construction sectors. And this contrasts with slower paces in places like Qatar, around 2.8%, or the broader rest of Middle East category, which is just above 2%, 2.195%. So this variance within regions, I think, is a really crucial takeaway for us. It's never just a single uniform trend.
Yeah, that's clear.
Each nation, even within a continent, has its own unique market forces at play, often driven by distinct economic diversification efforts or population growth patterns or specific government initiatives.
Okay, so we've toured the world, essentially. What does this all mean when we pull back and look at that global picture again? We've seen that the global timberboard market is definitely on a stable upward path, poised for pretty significant expansion over the next decade.
Exactly. And the two major insights, the big headlines that truly stand out for me are these. One, Asia-Pacific is clearly leading in terms of sheer market size. It's cementing its position as a powerhouse of both demand and probably production, too. That's what the current volume
The
is.
heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I can say that, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, two, Africa is the undeniable leader in growth rate. It's demonstrating this incredible acceleration in adoption and development. And this really highlights how demand for timber boards is diversifying worldwide. Emerging markets in particular are truly accelerating their adoption as they build out their foundational infrastructure, their economies.
So it's not just about the established players anymore.
Not at all. This isn't just about, abstract numbers on a page. It's about seeing where the next major economic and industrial shifts are likely to happen, and how a seemingly simple, everyday material like timberboard is actually right at the heart of it all. It's fundamental.
What an incredible journey through those numbers and the regional stories of the global timberboard market. It really is amazing when you stop and think about how this one material connects so many different economies and has such a direct impact on our everyday lives, from the chair you might be sitting on to the building you work in. It's a reminder of how interconnected our world truly is through its most basic materials.
It truly is. And as we consider these powerful trends, the huge size of Asia Pacific, the incredible growth in Africa, here's maybe a thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Given this clear trend towards really significant growth in emerging economies, especially Africa, parts of Asia, what might this actually mean for global supply chains? Will it lead to, say, greater regional sourcing? Or could it put even more pressure on the traditional timber-producing nations to meet this escalating demand? And how does that balance against the crucial and growing push for sustainable forestry practices over the next decade? It's a complex challenge, really, with huge implications.
Absolutely. A really powerful question to ponder long after our deep dive ends today. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. And as always, we encourage you to keep exploring the fascinating world around you.